Year 3, week 1, statements made. All right. Let's get back to another DNS address. Week 1 of year 3 is complete, and apparently DNS decided to rank opponents for optional obstacles. Troy went at Alabama and won by 21. Old Dominion beat number 13 Nebraska by 23. Texas State walked into number 18 USC and won by 10. Georgia Tech scored 77. South Florida rushed for 400 yards and somehow lost. And Georgia Southern opening against the number 1 team in the country with number 4 Oregon waiting next week. Normal scheduling around here. Let's get into it. Our headline of the week is Troy does it again. Last week, Troy opened year 3 by beating number 22 Clemson. The reward, a trip to number 16 Alabama, and Troy apparently looked at that schedule and said, fine. The Trojans went into Bama and won 31-10. That is not surviving a ranked road game. That is controlling one. Raj Waldrop was much cleaner than he was against Clemson. 13 of 20, 169, 2 touchdowns. Most importantly, no interceptions. Then the running backs went to work. AC Walters, 16 carries, 124 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and another receiving. Dennis Palmer, 18 carries, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. That is 235 rushing yards between 2 backs. White added 6 receptions for 108 yards. The defense was able to record 3 sacks and interception, and Alabama managed 10 points. Troy is now 2-0. Those 2 wins? Check. That is a resume. And naturally, Troy's next opponent is number 2 Ohio State. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, 3 straight games. Somebody in the scheduling office had a personal issue with Troy, but right now, the Trojans are answering every challenge. Old Dominion runs through number 13, Nebraska. If anybody wondered whether John Valerios Heisman season was going to be difficult to follow, apparently not. Old Dominion welcomed number 13, Nebraska, and beat them 43-20. Valerio carried 27 times for 158 yards and 3 touchdowns. Back to business. Timmons added 78 yards and another touchdown. Ricky Burns threw 2 touchdowns and added 66 yards with his legs. But the real story, that Old Dominion defense. 7 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a safety. Nebraska spent most of the afternoon either giving the football away or trying to locate its quarterback. Old Dominion opened year 3 1-0 with a ranked win next at Appalachian State. Texas State walked into USC and wins. Remember how Texas State started last season 0-4 before completely turning things around? Year 3 was a little different. Texas State traveled to number 18 USC and won 27-17. Reisig completed 16 of 30 passes for 271 yards and 2 touchdowns. He added another touchdown rushing. Graves caught 1 pass. It went 73 yards for a touchdown, though. Efficient. Tucker Kusin added 64 yards receiving. Crow added 60. And corner Christopher Jones picked 2 passes off. Texas State starts the season 1-0, a road win against a ranked opponent. This is about as strong an opening statement as you can make. UTSA visits next week. Georgia Tech chooses violence. Georgia Tech open year 3 against Arkansas State. Final score 77-3. Yes, 77-3. There really is not much analytics required. Klutz went 10 for 13 for 187 yards and 4 touchdowns. Mason came in and threw 201 and 3 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns between the 2 quarterbacks. Willie's rushed 7 times for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns and caught another touchdown. Jackson had 120 receiving yards and a score. Bowman caught 2 touchdowns. The defense was able to add 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. Tay Harris returned one of those interceptions, 68 yards for a touchdown. And Roto added a 77-yard punt return touchdown. Offense, defense, special teams, everybody got involved. Georgia Tech starts 1-0. Next week, number 14, Colorado comes to town. That should prove some resistance. Probably. South Florida, how did this happen? South Florida welcomed number 17, Indiana, looking to rebound from a week 0 loss to Texas. Indiana wins, though, 37-31. This may be one of the strangest box scores we've seen all season. South Florida's running backs combined for 395 rushing yards. Wilder had 8 carries for 161 yards and a touchdown. Howard had 9 carries for 135 yards and a touchdown. Isaac had 6 carries for 99 yards and a touchdown. 23 carries, 395 yards, 3 touchdowns, and South Florida lost. How? Quarterback play. Lewis went 7 for 14 for 68 yards and threw 4 interceptions. Henry Hasselbeck added 147 yards and a touchdown, but threw another interception. 5 interceptions between the two quarterbacks. South Florida nearly rushed for 400 and still donated 5 possessions. That is difficult to overcome. The defense did record 3 sacks, an interception, and a block kicked. Cassis drilled another long field goal, this time from 50 yards. But South Florida falls to 0-2. Next week, UCF visits number 23 South Florida. The talent is obviously there, but the turnovers have to stop quickly. Will E. Nelson starts 1-0. The new era at Mississippi State begins with a win. The Bulldogs beat Florida International 30-13. Coolidge threw for 238 and a touchdown. He did throw 3 interceptions and was sacked 6 times. So there's plenty of film to clean up, but the ground game helped stabilize things. Cooper Crosby rushed for 98 yards. KJ Cruz added 93 yards and a touchdown. Peterkin caught 7 passes for 148 yards. Defensively, Mississippi State recorded 4 sacks, an interception, and a forced fumble. And Jace Townsend took the interception, 49 yards to the house. Gardner was also perfect on 3 field goals. Mississippi State starts the Will E. Nelson era 1-0 next. Number 16, Duke, the difficulty increases immediately. Sacramento State takes number 21, Duke, to overtime. Sacramento State came up just short against number 21, Duke. Final 44-35 in overtime. Babcock threw 5 touchdowns. Yes, 5. He finished 25 for 38 for 215 yards, but 2 interceptions. Godley produced 137 yards from scrimmage. Collins and Toy each caught touchdown passes, and defensively, Roger Claiborne recorded 2 sacks. Tagayo intercepted 2 passes. Sacramento State gave a ranked Duke team everything it wanted, but in overtime, it belonged to the Blue Devils. The Hornets start 0-1. Toledo visits next week. Georgia Southern battles against number 1 Oklahoma. Georgia Southern opened year 3 with as difficult an assignment as possible at number 1 Oklahoma. The Sooners win 35-21, but Georgia Southern made them work. KJ Towers struggled through the air, throwing only 91 yards and a touchdown and an interception, but with his legs, different story. 12 carries, 128 rushing yards. Todd scored on the ground. Bradley scored on the ground. Cam McKell caught a touchdown. The defense recorded 3 sacks and forced 2 fumbles. Georgia Southern had opportunities. They just did not have enough offense to finish the upset. The Eagles start 0-1. And because the schedule apparently has jokes, next week, number 4 comes to Statesboro. Number 1 Oklahoma followed immediately by number 4 Oregon. Welcome to year 3. UAB drops the opener. Coach Breesy's first game at USB ends with Jacksonville State winning 27-14. Nate Rogers threw for 288 and was intercepted 3 times. James Ingram was the bright side, though. 20 carries, 143 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He added another 62 in the air. That's 205 from scrimmage. That's a good day. Kobe Young topped 100 receiving yards. The defense was able to record 4 sacks and interception, but turnovers and 2 missed field goals left too much on the table. UAB starts 0-1, and next week at number 14 Boise State, because apparently nobody in this dynasty believes easing new coaches in their jobs. We don't. Army had a bye, which, looking at everybody else's schedule, may have been the biggest win of the week. Army travels to Temple next week. Our stock-ups, Troy, 2 games, 2 ranked wins. Clemson, Alabama, and now Ohio State. If Troy wins one, if Troy wins that one, we are not calling that a good start anymore. We're calling them a national story. Old Dominion, number 13, Nebraska came to Norfolk. Old Dominion sent them home with a 23-point loss and 7 sacks. Texas State, a road win against a USC to open year 3. After the way last year started, this means something. Our need more film of the week, South Florida's quarterbacks, 5 interceptions. There's too much talent around them for that to continue. Mississippi State's pass protection, 6 sacks allowed. Number 16, Duke, is coming next. That needs attention. Sacramento State, 5 passing touchdowns, 2 defensive interceptions was still not enough. The Hornets have to find the handful of plays that turn close losses into wins. Week 1 honors, our offensive player of the week is halfback John Valerio from Old Dominion. The reigning Heisman winner opened year 3 with 27 carries, 158 yards, 3 touchdowns against number 13 Nebraska. Apparently, the sequel has started. Our defensive player of the week is cornerback Christopher Jones from Texas State. 2 picks on the road at number 18 USC and a 10-point victory. That'll do. Our Built Not Given award of the week goes to Troy again. And I tried to find another answer, but come on. Clemson in week 0, Alabama in week 1. 2 ranked opponents, 2 wins. This one came on the road by 21 points. No excuses. No easing into the year. No hiding from the schedule. Troy is 0-2 or 2-0. And number 2, Ohio State is waiting. If you want respect, go take it. That's Built, Not Given. Our week 2, after apparently the schedule gets even better. Troy at number 2, Ohio State, 2 ranked wins already. Now comes the biggest test yet. Number 4, Oregon at Georgia Southern. From number 1, Oklahoma, straight into number 4, Oregon. No breaks. Number 14, Colorado at number 6, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech scored 77 in its opener. Now comes a ranked test. Number 16, Duke at Mississippi State. Will E. Nelson start at 1-0? Can Mississippi State make it 2-0 against a ranked opponent? UCF at number 23, South Florida. The Bulls are 0-2. This one already feels important. Old Dominion at Appalachian State. The Monarchs take their 1-0 start on the road. UTSA at Texas State. Can Texas State follow a ranked road win with another victory? Toledo at Sacramento State. The MAC champion look for their win number 1. UAB at number 14, Boise. Coach Reisig gets another ranked road test. New Mexico State at Kennesaw State. Bobby Babcock looks for his first win and his new stop. And Army at Temple. We do have a late coaching update before we get any further. One more coaching note has been added. Army has hired a new head coach. Middle of the night, Nighthawk Gaming has officially taken over at West Point. Brand new coach and completely separate character. Army has a bye this week, so Nighthawk gets a little extra time before his first game next week. That debut comes against Temple. It's a new coach, a new era. Now we get our first look at Nighthawk Gaming in West Point with Army. Week 1 has made some things clear. Troy's not afraid of anybody. Old Dominion still has the Heisman winner. Texas State might be ready to skip the slow start this year. Georgia Tech is still terrifying. South Florida has plenty of offense. 5 interceptions will erase almost anything, though. And now Army enters week 2 with a brand new coach. The schedule's not getting any easier. Troy heads to number 2, Ohio State. Georgia Southern gets number 4, Oregon. Georgia Tech gets number 14, Colorado. Mississippi State gets number 16, Duke. South Florida is trying to avoid 0-3. Army's beginning a new era at Temple. Year 3 did not need a warm-up. It needed statements. And this week, several teams made one. In the Department of Natural Selection, you select, we collect, Built, Not Given.